Whether you're new to pool and practicing the basics, or a more experienced player performing drills to improve your shot making and positional play, the Drill Partner is perfect for you.
Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Dogging It. I am Molina Mike, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed the U.S. Open coverage to this point. Had a fun show earlier to start the day, and, as much as I enjoyed it, and it was cool hanging out with all you guys, I kind of like, as I was reflecting on it, I realized I was taking after, like, my boy there. My guy Collins interacting with the chat, and all I needed YouTube emojis and, way too many pints by 9:30, and I would have been just like my boy over here. Louis, sir, how are you, buddy? Welcome back.
You're making me tear up a little bit, man.
I know.
To tear up like.
I was really out of character. I was like channeling you, but it was a lot of fun.
You know what it's making me realize right now? I think
What's
in
that?
order for me to feel like you, I just have to go get like some dial-up internet and try to do a show. Just kidding.
Is it now? Is it real laggy?
Ask the chat. We'll see how it's coming through for them. But you're coming through kind of glitchy for me.
Well, let me tell you guys. So I'm in the hotel. This is like gambling hour right now. So the casino may put a kibosh on the Wi-Fi. So just bear with us.
Good point,
we're not gonna have too long of a show. I can tell you that because of I got to go eat dinner, man. I haven't eaten at all today. Like, I mean, nothing at all today. So we got to get some food, but we got to talk U.S. Open, man. You were supposed to be here. You're not here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting a little awkward, buddy.
So I had it ready to go. Like, I even got things okay with work. I was going to make like a surprise, like, hey, let's all hang out on Friday and Saturday when the action gets real hot.
Right.
And I was looking through flights, and just everything is, I think all the direct flights or flights with short layovers are just completely booked at this point. So the only things that I could find had like 10-hour, 12-hour layovers, and I'd be arriving. I would have arrived at like 6 p.m. today. So
yeah, it would have been no fun.
It would have been no fun. So I went out and got a mobile powerhouse for the stream.
The computer. Nice. Okay.
Well, yeah. So now I got the desktop for when I'm at home here, or if I'm close by, and I can do all my editing and stuff here. But now the laptop will be much easier for me to like be competitive with being accessible to go anywhere in the country. Because the main thing is getting that desktop. It's like 25 pounds.
Okay, cool story, bro. Put it on your vlog. Update it to your reel. Okay, and we got to talk U.S. Open though. All right. We got plenty of time to talk about upgraded equipment for today though. For this evening, for everyone hanging out and watching with us, we're gonna talk the little U.S. Open. Hopefully, you got to watch at least today, buddy. Whenever you were back at home.
I got to catch a lot of the SVB, or a decent amount of the SVB and Vitaly match, and it went exactly like you predicted, basically. Like, Vitaly played him tough, and he just always plays him tough, man. I feel like Vitaly a little bit has just a little bit of Shane's number, and I don't know what it is, but whenever they play each other, it's generally a lot closer than you would think it'd be on paper. And I know you mentioned in your podcast earlier that Vitaly does have a very strong game. I mean, he when I saw him before U.S. Open in Vegas, all the different disciplines out there, he had come to hard times a couple of times and matched up with like Tyler Steyer out here. I think he played, I forget who else he played one time when he was here.
He played Johnny. He played Mora the first time when he was out there, and John gave him
that set?
John. It was the most out of line thing. John gave him like the 8 playing 10 ball and just heisted him. Like Vitaly heisted him, and then
Vitaly heisted him.
Yeah, but it was like whenever you first came over, And then I think by the end of the night they were playing even, obviously, which is how they should play.
Right.
And I think Vitali still won, but obviously it was a lot closer. But that was like when he first came over.
So, but back then, I don't think he performed very well in the tournaments that were going on at the time. I don't think he made like a super deep run, and so he didn't really catch the eye of many of the locals here. But then, obviously, U.S. Open in Vegas, the performance out there, he played jam up against anybody in the tournament, especially for rotation, and I think he had a good showing in one of the other tournaments too. But anyway, so obviously he's got an incredible game. But I also feel like SVB is in full SVB mode right now. Look at him go through this U.S. Open, man.
Yeah, I mean,
has he had any close matches in this final 64?
I'm trying to think. I mean, nothing that particularly comes to mind off the top of my head. Shane's interesting because he's not known to have a quality 9-ball break, and he'll tell you as much. Where on the other hand, by far the story for me was Vitali. And as soon as the match was over, I went up and told him, hey man, your time is coming, and there's nothing to hang your head on. Well-deserved place in the Final Four of this year's U.S. Open. There's no shame in losing to Shane, on a Friday night when everyone and their mama is rooting for Shane to get number 6.
Right. So, and you could hear it in the crowd too. I mean, like as Shane was getting closer and closer to making it to the Final Four, the crowd started getting behind him too. And even when Vitali would miss and stuff, the crowd would be like, "Okay, let's go, Shane," and a little bit of that. I know it wasn't over the top.
And it wasn't like a dig at Vitali. It's the fans and us all, that we want to see the story come out. We want to see Shane at least have a swing for number 6. Now it's not going to be easy, and it wasn't easy against Vitali. And even Shane said, "Hey, listen, this guy's had one of the best breaks in the entire tournament," but he found a way. Just a little bit ago, if you guys are just joining us, SVB takes out Vitali. Josh takes out David Alcade in thrilling fashion. Niels in surprising fashion takes out Copigny, and of course Federer took apart Rhoda earlier today. So, but here we are, man. We're going to be going into a Saturday. Final Four players, and the storylines could not be any better, man.
Yeah, this tournament, this U.S. Open, I really feel like could potentially be one of the most iconic U.S. Opens in history.
Why do you jinx it like that? You just ruined it.
No, well, just look.
They're probably going to be like landslides now that you go and say something like that.
Well, I'm not even just talking about the matchups. I'm talking about like the results.
It's all about matchups, baby. It's all about the matchups. Look, you got 4 world champions. You got a couple of guys who have won a U.S. Open before. You got storylines of the Josh versus potential of Josh versus Federer. You got the potential of a Niels who could be coming out of nowhere and reach a final. You got obviously the SVB going for 6. I mean, there's so many ways you can dissect
1, 2, and 3, dude. It's 1, 2, and 3. As far as like global perception, they're in the Final Four, right? You got.
How out of line is that though? Because that never happens. That never happens. So I mean, look at the UK.
It never happens in a tournament.
Yeah,
of this stature. Yeah. So I just think that's super interesting. Niels Feijen, if you look back through this final 64, no one has even contested him. I don't know if you've noticed that. It's like 10-5 every single match.
No. Niels, first of all, Niels is great and a great effing story. Okay, but don't get it twisted. Niels has been the afterthought of this tournament, at least when it comes to the Final Four. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way.
No,
what I'm getting at is that like he's just willing and breaking and running out his way into being like, hey, I'm still here. The old man still has some game. I loved whenever I spoke to him earlier, he said, I wasn't even going to play this event. I had to get permission from my daughters. And as a father myself, I just that hit, at the heartstrings because I could feel at that. And then that made me like root for the guy even more. Shane, he's very much the elder statesman, and you're going up against 2 early 20-year-old monsters who are the present and the future of this sport. But the old man still got some game, and the old man ain't ready to pass the torch, not just yet. And it's going to make for an outstanding final day at this year's U.S. Open.
Yes. And I mean, knock on wood here, but pardon me. Well, I'll just say it like this. How freaking sick would it be if we like right after that massive match that we had between SVB and Federer, how sick would it be if they both made it to the final of the US Open?
Listen, to start the day, that's whenever they win the first round and people start thinking, oh, wait a minute, there's a potential here for this matchup. And then you realize, holy cow, there's a potential for this matchup, and that's by far the one that everyone wants to see. Look, them throwing in that 10-ball race where they did, and now them two being in the final four of this year's U.S. Open, it's very poetic.
It's extremely poetic. Yeah,
I really
wrote it better.
No, you can't. But it's got to come true. And there's spoilers here, right? There's fucking spoilers here because Niels can be the spoiler, right? Because everyone counts him out against Ko Pin-Yi. And by the way, he just tears him apart, 10-6 or whatever it was.
Just get Filler Fine and everyone just goes, but it'd still be a great match. But it's still just like.
Well, here's the deal. Every time we've had those in matchroom events, look at the Dang versus Bisterbosch final, right? Epic. Right, we weren't let down at all. So every time you get these like let down finals, they still end up being pretty awesome, right? And the fans just win and find a way. And but look, it's no knock on Josh, it's no knock on Federer. No knock on Niels. People want to see the SVB versus Federer final.
It's literally like a movie script if it happens. Like it's literally how they would write it in one of those super cliche movie scripts. But it's like the reason they write it that way is because if it happens in real life, it's actually really astounding.
Yeah.
So
and see, this is the part where this is the part that kind of like, and I'm going to go on a soapbox here for just a minute, okay? Because this is the part of like where the pool world just fucking puts me on tilt, Collins, all the time. Because had this been like the gambling match, this is the part where everyone comments, oh, it's rigged and they're just writing this shit and it's, you know what I mean? They're just doing it for sales and blah. No, you know what this is? This is the beauty of what pool is. There's so many great stories that come with it. And there's so many ways you can look at it whether it's the guy who's been the hottest guy on earth in Federer going for his first US Open title. Can he rob SVB of the one that's been eluding him for so many years? There's Josh and his epic game. There's so many things. There's Niels and it's like there's great poetry throughout these players, throughout their game, throughout their ebbs and flows and their highs and lows of tournaments and the route in which they got here. Like, listen, man, I love the fact that we got 4 named players in this year's U.S. Open final, but the stories are everything, man. The stories are it, and that's the reason why I cannot wait for those racks tomorrow. It's 9:40 p.m. here on the East Coast, and I'm buzzing, dude. There's like, I got my blood flowing. You know what I mean? Like that match right there is like, let's go, man, let's go. And I love the fact that they got one more day. They got a night's worth of rest, so we're not like going to be playing like a pool room tournament till like 5 a.m. You know what I mean? Like they're going to get some rest. They're going to come back. It's going to be their best game on the best stage. Yep. Everyone's going to be watching.
It's what everyone came here to see. I mean, it's literally what everyone came here to see. So, yeah, to have those 3 guys in the Final Four is pretty remarkable. We'll see how the story ends up over the next 2 days. But yeah, it's been. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to watch a lot of the matches take place, so I don't know any of the highlight moments off the top of my head. But the sweat in the bracket has been really interesting to see, to say the least. So.
Tommy asks, where do we watch the matches tomorrow? Well, if you're in the U.S., they'll be on DAZN all day long. It'll be semifinal, a break, and then a final is how it'll play out. I don't know the times. I'll post them on Windows Open later on. But, yeah, I mean, you are not going to want to miss it. Make sure and get all your stuff handled in the morning because it's going to be a fun day of some great pool. I'd imagine that they're probably going to save Filler and Shane for the second half of the day, just be my guess. But I could be wrong. We'll see how it ends up turning out. And like I said, I haven't checked the schedule. So give me who you like tomorrow, buddy. And I'll start with the obvious, the Federer versus Niels matchup. Given what you've seen of Niels and all the compliments you paid him earlier, what do you think his chances are?
I think it's going to be a close match, actually. Like if you just look at the quality of players that each player played leading up to this quarter or this semifinal, and the score lines of both. Now I know Alexa Paselj is a great player and he's knocking on the door of greatness over the next couple of years. That was a bit of a
heartbreak for Alexa losing to Federer, by the way, because that was
but just looking back at this final 64, I think that Niels, it's going to be something similar to what we just watched between Vitaly and Shane. Honestly, that's what I would assume. But I got to take Federer for the favorite there to make it to the finals. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about from like the way that the matches went, right? So like along that 6-6 kind of range, you like it to be tied for Niels and Federer.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the matchups on both sides, it's very similar. Like the skill differential between the two players that each. It's difficult for me to word exactly what I'm trying to say, but yeah, when Niels
you mean
played
like
somebody,
the quality of competition each player has faced up until this point. Is that what you're getting at?
yeah, and then the score, the resulting score afterwards, it really looks like it's going to be a close match. It looks like Niels is playing a really, really solid game in this break format. So,
look, he's going to have to come with the superhero like performance against Federer, because Federer is precision right now. He's surgical right now. His break has been
I haven't
dialed
been able to
in.
watch him play, so I'm assuming, he's completely dialed after last week.
Well, you can just see that he gets stronger, and we've seen that in tournaments from him. I mean, look at the World Championships, where he dodges these hill traps and ends up snapping the whole thing off. And in this case, it hasn't been like as compelling as that. But look, he's in the Final Four. He was a finalist last year, and he has gotten better. His game has gotten better after the break. The whole if there's ever going to be a guy who people will root for, like louder than Shane, I don't know if I can go that far, but like close to.
I don't know about louder.
It's Federer. It's Federer right now, because he's the adopted son, of the American fans, and so people want to see him. Niels wants to spoil that party, and Niels is capable. Now, I'll be honest with you, I haven't watched a lot of Niels play. I was looking over my shoulder watching the Copigny match, and then when it gets like 5-5. Then I start creeping over, and it's like, okay, Niels at the table. Then I look over again, Niels at the table, over and over and over again, and then he comes away with the strong finish. He's got a lot of like really good energy, Collins, and his attitude
huge.
against Ko, who's got a great break.
Yeah,
not easy to do, buddy. You know that.
No, it's so difficult to beat that guy and have it not be close to Hill. It says something like either Copigny had a self-destruct moment, not that he needs to for Niels to beat him, but at that score line, you either got to play outstanding or Ko has to have made a couple of very critical errors that are not made often at that level.
It was an interesting point earlier when I was sweating the matches and someone said, let's just hope that they haven't peaked yet, and I hope that's the case for both of them, because both of them are playing outstanding pool in Federer and Niels. Now, when it comes to Josh and SVB, I don't think we've gotten their best game by any stretch. I think that they're still very much like in that third or fourth gear relative to their ceiling. But like in the case of Federer and Niels, where Federer can get stronger, Federer's looking real, real tough, man. Niels said, I'm breaking the balls really good. He was making a lot of smart decisions. His execution was great. He hasn't had a lot of like premier TV table time as of late. And last time we really saw him on a big stage was him at the Mosconi Cup, where he didn't do so well. And this was a couple of years ago. And so for him to be back in this position at his age, and given the fact that he, even he mentioned it, I'm not a full-time, pro player anymore, is pretty awesome. I wanted Federer versus Shane, but my heart, after talking with Niels, wants me to see Niels play.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. See Niels get to the final. Who would you want him to play against, though? Would you want him to play against Shane?
Oh yeah, I want Shane to destroy him then, if that's the case, for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then if Shane faces Niels, then that's the all right. We got past Filler, and I mean this with all due respect to Niels,
because snap it off if that happens. Yeah.
Oh, and it'd be great because then he'd play himself Mosconi Cup contention, and it'd be awesome. Yeah. And so I don't know, man. We'll see how it goes. I know that's what I'm looking forward to. Give me your thoughts on the SVB versus Filler matchup for tomorrow.
I think it just depends on how the balls are settling after the break. I think both of them are going to be getting a look at controlling the table after the break. But again, without having seen like as many racks as you have, it's gonna be no idea, man. No idea.
Well, there's a couple things. So one, Filler's in Shane's head, and nobody will want to admit it. Shane will admit it though if you ask him. And so there's that aspect to it. The fact that
So
he's
the
had his
meta
number.
game is at play, is what you're saying. The game off the
Well,
table is at play.
and if you consider the fact that even Shane will tell you, hey, listen, I don't have this break figured out. He's very much just kind of swimming blind out there. And he just whacks at him at times, and it works.
Yeah,
it
really
works.
looks
Right?
like
It's
It
worked
really
his
looks
way
like
and through. Well, it's not like that controlled like Ko Ping Chung break that we saw last year, right? Where he was just
Yeah,
getting
that was
everything dressed
sick.
up consistently. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's but this is where and this is when after I got done interviewing Shane, we're leaving the arena, and I'm like, let's go, and I'm dapping him up, and he's just like, I was just firing at it, and that's when Shane is great to watch. And I was telling my buddy Jason Weir this
Yeah.
because like he has this like kid at heart kind of vibe where he's just back to playing on the bar table, and if all else fails, he just swings and fires and swings and fires, and he's super offensive. But if he needs to, he can grind. But his instinct is to be offensive, and it's a lot of fun to watch, man.
That's one thing that like play style or just presence at the table that that Shane and Filler have completely different is I feel like when Shane's at the table, God, how do you say this? He's like, if he gets into a grindy situation where he's back and behind, like we saw at the big money match, right? He turns on this switch and just like when you don't think he can dig any deeper, he like finds a way to make something happen, right? Especially in those iconic moments over the years, like all the different US Opens that he's won and everything. And it's just like, I feel like watching Filler's just kind of walking around the table, just making balls. You know what I mean? There's not as much, I don't know. I know that Filler is the ultimate competitor, and like you've talked about in the past, and the conversations that I've had with him off the table, I know that fire is there. But man, watching Shane go through that, there's something like he just wins you over, man. He just wins you over because you can see that he's working through it and making it happen.
It's Filler can break your will. And I hope that doesn't happen to Shane tomorrow, but it's happened before. We've seen it at Mosconi Cups where he buries them. And I hope Shane can figure out a way to either step on his throat early and keep the momentum, or just keep his spirits good and keep his head right, because there's a potential for such a great storyline. And listen, no one's going to blame Shane if Josh wins, because Josh is a monster, and Josh, he's evil, and it'd be surprising if he does just start picking apart racks and making it look easy, and he'll make the right decision. He'll execute at an extremely high level. And like I said, he's had Shane's number. The moment's not going to be too big for Josh Filler. It's going to be like the epitome of a heavyweight fight. And so I hope it lives up to the billing, because that's super hard to do. But look, I love Niels, I really do. I love Niels, but whether it's Filler or Feder Shane, I'm going to be in love with the final tomorrow. So,
for sure. Yeah, 100%. Gosh, I was just going to say something and I got distracted by something. What were you just saying about Filler? I lost it. It was going to be such a gem too.
Maybe the chat can let us know. I don't know. I haven't eaten all day, man. My brain's not like dialed in right now. I'm still like I said, I'm buzzing on like pool, man. And it's the wildest thing, because like there's so many chances to come up flat, or it to be the like unexpected storyline, which is still great. Like this up, and I was talking with Carl and Scott about this right after Shane wins, and it's like, this is a dream. Like this is about as good as you can ask for, and so tomorrow can't come soon enough, man.
Yeah, dead serious. I'm so glad that I'm going to be able to have my phone in front of me the whole time, sweating every match. So I can't wait to. Maybe we should do one of these in between the semifinal and final. I think that'd be fun to because I'll be on the edge of my seat with every single shot tomorrow. So.
Well, I'm guessing there'll be a pretty decent break in between there. Hopefully, I get better internet than what I got right now because I'm like a 5 out of 10 right now. So if I have internet connection issues, just bear with me here. But yeah, no, for sure, we do something like a preview. I want to do something in previewing the final. So that's something that I'm going to be looking forward to as well. Who do you think wins tomorrow, man? Give me your give me who you think's going to win.
I want SVB to win. I really do. Federer's my boy, but I have this weird feeling that Filler's going to get there. So I know it just sounds like I just picked 3, but I'm going to go with SVB.
You kind of did.
Yeah.
Look, I'm sitting there sweating Shane versus Vitali, and I got a lot of respect for Vitali. And like I mentioned at the start of the show, the kid's just unreal. Like, I'm a fan of Shane. You know, seeing him win a world championship, I was at home. I'll never forget it. You know, I was the one always saying the guy can't win overseas. He can't get the monkey off his back.
Yeah.
He'll never win a major. You know, a match for major.
Days, yeah.
And then like he just exercises all these demons. You know, and so the fan in me,
it's clear.
The fan in me wants me to see Shane get number 6 because I think it'd be incredibly special, and it's like it's been a talking point. And like obviously we dream it up. We want it to be, you know, SVB versus Federer, Hill in the finals of the U.S. Open, and that's how it'll end up playing out. But those young European monsters in Federer and Filler are the real deal, and they can spoil the party. And I'm kind of with you where my head's telling me look out, because I've seen Josh just over and over again
be unstoppable. Like literally, there's nothing you can do about it.
And there's not very many guys who have the it factor against Shane, because Shane's the guy that has the it factor. You know, he's the one where like he's winning this game. You know, and so Josh has got that effect on him. And then you throw in Federer. To be honest with you, like if I'm just thinking with my head here, I think Federer's going to win his first U.S. Open. You know, he's had a great year. It's the perfect like cherry on top for him. And it's not going to be surprising if he gets there, because Whirlpool Masters, World Championship, he was in the finals last year. Let the kid get his first U.S. Open, and here we go. You know what I mean? Then bring on December. I don't know, man.
They're all poetic stories, really. They are, you know.
Yeah, and by the way, if Niels were to win, then Hanoi becomes extremely more weighted, because Niels can really throw a wrench into the Mosconi Cup talks, and now he will be. But it's a whole, you know, different dynamic there that, you know, he's played his way into being a part of the conversation, which is awesome.
Yeah, can't wait to watch. I think 30 minutes is about good for you. You got to go eat some food.
I got to go get some food. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed the coverage. Collins, I appreciate you hopping in. Hopefully you won't be making no excuses and, you know what I mean? Like the past couple of days. So
I'll be sweating it. Excuses,
10 a.m.
Love
noon.
is what it's called. Love.
You know, well, good. You need to, as much as you've been on the road. You know, I'm going to see you in like 2 weeks. I didn't even realize that. You know that?
Seriously?
I know. That's what I said.
Oh my
Seriously?
gosh, we're going to Vegas, baby. Rio roulette table. Here we come. having flashback nightmares right now.
I just got PTSD right now from the Rio roulette table. Listen, thanks to you guys for hanging out with us. Collins, thanks for hanging out. I'm going to be posting a lot tomorrow. Big shout out to all of our sponsors, the podcast sponsors down there at the bottom, and of course everyone else who has helped out for this trip. Trip Promotions, the League Room, Michelle Griffin Realtor, Mucci Q's, Pat's Billiard Supply. Big appreciation to them. We will see you guys